Welcome to A Course in Business Miracles. This is Heather Dominic, creator of BusinessMiracles.com and founder and leader of the highly sensitive entrepreneur movement. Join me today for some genuine practical assistance and a business-altering and life-changing experience, a business miracle. This is A Course in Business Miracles, episode number 16. Clarity. One of the most deceptive, highly sensitive entrepreneur shadows is that of easily becoming what I call froggy, a combination of foggy and fuzzy. Learn why, in truth, confusion is a default that does not need to ruin your business. The Business Miracle focus for today's training is clarity. Clarity is such an important energy for highly sensitive entrepreneurs because we can so easily find ourselves in the HSE shadow of confusion. I hear from HSEs a lot that you're confused about your message. What is my message? How do I communicate my message? Your ideal client. Who is my ideal client? Where can I find my ideal client? How to market in a way that feels good and works for you. How to set your schedule to honor your HSE needs. How to understand your uniqueness as an HSE and to be able to deliver that uniqueness. How to network without being overwhelmed. How to have a successful selling conversation. How to price your services. I could go on and on. I will say this is exactly why I teach how to clearly create all of these aspects of business building and expanding as an HSE. But at the heart of it all is changing the HSE tendency to be committed to confusion. Managing your energy around what it means to be overwhelmed and confused. I can remember when I first started my business, surprise, surprise, I was confused. And I remember working with a spiritual mentor at the time and sharing with her my confusion, and specifically around the time when I was transitioning from being a nutrition and wellness coach to business coaching. And during one of our sessions, she asked me a very important question. And the question really stopped me in my tracks. She said, Heather, what is your commitment to confusion? And I realized in that moment that I had spent most of my adult life being committed to confusion. And I also realized that through that commitment to confusion, I was experiencing a connection to my mother. My mother was 35 when she died. I was 14, and at the time she was very confused about her career. What I didn't know at the time when working with this spiritual mentor is I didn't know that I was highly sensitive, and that as a highly sensitive, I was going to experience that commitment to confusion, and through that commitment, the connection with my mother in a deeper and wider way than someone who isn't highly sensitive would. And it's exactly why I have created tools, first to support myself, and now to support hundreds and hundreds of other HSEs, to create ongoing clarity. It's so important that I've actually dedicated an entire foundational principle in the 6-month group coaching program exactly to this. The entire foundational principle is all about energy management and learning to clear confusion and create clarity specifically so that you are free to generate financial abundance. As an HSE, you must have a consistent commitment to clearing confusion, and I want you to write that down. You must also have a consistent, committed core practice to support you in clearing confusion consistently. And write that down too. And you must have this for many reasons. But most importantly, so your energy is available to be fulfilling your royal advisor role, to be fulfilling our highly sensitive shared purpose of liberation, freedom, and to be fulfilling our HSE shared purpose of creating freedom through our businesses. You can feel how much energy it takes to be confused. To let your commitment to confusion go is a shift in perspective. It's a miracle. Now, let's acknowledge for a moment that HSEs aren't the only people confused. It's just that we feel it more deeply and hold on to it longer. According to A Course in Miracles, there's a very powerful teaching called the laws of chaos, and I want you to write that down. Now, most people, according to the Course, live by these laws. And the laws of chaos create discontent, distraction, disorganization, and overall chaos and confusion. Now, the teachings of these laws in the Course can come across as complex. My intention for this training is to simplify. We must understand the laws of chaos so that we can make a different choice, create a different reality. We want to understand chaos and confusion so that from there you are free to create clarity. The first law of chaos. Write this down. The first law of chaos states, truth is different for everyone. Some people are more valuable than others. Well, that's an easy one for us to buy into as HSEs because we're the 20% versus the 80%. No wonder we can so easily slip into scullery maid or entitled queen trying to prove that we truly are valuable and deserve to be here. The second law of chaos. Errors call for punishment rather than correction. If you make a mistake, you're beyond forgiveness. Well, I don't know about you, but it sounds like there isn't anything else other than that to push me into the HSE shadow of perfectionism. The third law of chaos. God must be feared. God's will is vengeance, not forgiveness. Well, then, as an HSE, I can only conclude that since I'm not perfect, destruction can be the only outcome. The fourth law of chaos. Belief that you have what you have because you've taken from another. Another's loss becomes your gain. And the Course will say all the other laws lead to this one. Well, we can for sure see here the HSE's fear of selling or fear of receiving abundance, since as a highly sensitive, we're so dedicated to justice and integrity. The final law of chaos. There is a substitute for love. And if as an HSE we believe that final law of chaos to be true, well then no wonder we feel like we must fight to be like the other 80%, be that pusher, or just give up, because what's the use? Might as well hide. Take a deep breath in and let it out. It's hard to be a successful royal advisor living by the laws of chaos. how in the world can we coach someone else, support someone else in healing, or be creative or spiritual in any type of business? How can we help others if we're ensconced in the laws of chaos ourselves? Now, I get asked a lot how I've created what I have as an HSE. And there's many answers to that question, which honestly is what I teach and share in the 6-month group coaching program and all of the Business Miracle coaching programs. You can ask any community member. I don't hold back. I'm a true believer in just pulling back the curtain and sharing my entire experience so that we can all be learning and growing and expanding. But for the benefit of today, I'll share with you one primary way that I have created what I have as an HSE. And that is because I have been committed to honing the skill of managing overwhelm and my primary HSE coping tendency of pushing. Very rarely do I at all anymore find myself either in overwhelm or pushing. Instead, I utilize my HSE strength of intuition. It's at the forefront of everything I do in my business and supports me in creating clarity and making business decisions quickly. And what really helps me to be able to do this ongoing is my commitment to using the core practices that I've developed and that I teach. For example, there is a process I teach I call AYUK, and you want to write this down. It's A-U-K. You can say it with me. AYUK. The A stands for awareness. The U stands for understanding, and the K stands for knowing. So now I want you to take your hands and just make like an umbrella motion over your head. That's awareness. That's the first step in the process of transformation. And now take your hands and point to your temples. That's understanding. That's your mind. That's the second step in the process of transformation. And now take your hand and place it over your heart. That's knowing. That's the final step in the process of transformation. AYUK. Most people, HSEs included, stop at understanding. They halt the process of transformation simply from the place of the mind, the intellect. It's one thing to get something intellectually, and it's a whole nother to know it to your core, to live it, to breathe it, to be it, to embody it. Knowing or clarity comes from experience, and experience comes from practice. So what are you practicing? Most HSEs stop themselves with I can't because of their HSE shadows. And when an HS is living from this place within their E as a person who's attempting to be self-employed, that's what I refer to as an OSE, an overly sensitive entrepreneur. So let's look at these HSE shadows more closely. There's the shadow of perfectionism, procrastination, overwhelm, overwork, pushing, overprotection, hiding, being self-critical, being judgmental of self, being judgmental of others, and then digestive and overall health issues. According to A Course in Miracles, the winds and the rains of life are always going to come. And what I would add into that is that for sure they're going to come if you're self-employed, and especially as an HSE. But the course goes on to say, the winds and the rains of life are always going to come. The question is your house built on rock or is it built on sand? When operating from your HSE shadows, your house is built on sand. And I want you to write that down. That's confusion. When you are in a safe container, a community, honing your HSE strengths through core practice consistently, that creates rock. That creates clarity. And everything becomes easier. Once you know this, you can no longer live by the laws of chaos and confusion. That illusion disappears. It disintegrates. And then you have more energy for clarity, strength, freedom, truth, aligned action, being in aligned action. I've seen so many community members and clients experience this shift through the Business Miracles teachings that there's more than I could possibly share or count, but there's a few that come right to the top of my mind. There's Karina, who's an amazing coach, to watch her really get clear on her message, to attract and build a full practice, to bring on a group members, to receive clients who are international. And there's Linnell, who is coming out of corporate when we first connected, built herself a real solid, intimate practice, really honed the HSE selling success system, and now is in a place where she is about ready to birth and expand into an even a greater and higher level of her offers, really stepping into fulfilling her purpose, what she's always wanted to be doing. And there's Rebecca, who's a math tutor for a beautiful, creative, exclusive type of student. And Rebecca tutors virtually and works with just this really, again, beautiful type of student in a very exclusive way, has just a handful of clients and has crossed the six-figure mark. And there's Stephanie, who's a vocal coach, who was working her bum off when we first met, totally in scullery maid mode, totally pushing. And through the way of Business Miracles and honoring her HSE-ness, she has been able to actually set up business systems so that she is able to go beyond just teaching singing, but now expanding into being able to train business owners and how to really powerfully be able to use their voice. Stephanie has time off. She has more time with her child, and she's stepping back into her own joy of singing personally. And she's reached her income goals of over $10,000 each month. I could go on and on. I just feel so blessed to witness these business miracles every day, to watch the process of transformation. HSE after HSE going from drowning and just being totally suffocated by their shadows into being fully, powerfully thriving in their HSE strengths. The time is now. The HSE strength question is, how can I? And open up and receive the answer. That's the way to experience a miracle. You have a way out of chaos, a way out of confusion. You have a way into clarity. It's the door I'm opening up for you. It's the path we will walk together for the next 6 months. It's right here. Will you open to receive?
Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of A Course in Business Miracles. If you're ready to learn how to use your highly sensitive abilities to support you in being purposeful, profitable and empowered rather than scattered, poor, and undervalued, take my free self-quiz to find out if you are indeed a highly sensitive entrepreneur. And if you are, along with your quiz results, you'll receive my free HSE Success Guide, which will teach you how to have your highly sensitive abilities working for you to create the results you desire in your business. Take the quiz and receive your free success guide now at www.hsequiz.com.